showtime.
Cheers, everyone, and welcome to a very star-studded event. The creme de la creme. Oh, you're the cream that rises to the top. Ladies and germs, raise a glass, a little bit of the bubbly.
That's right.
Welcome to the 2024 award show for Dynamite. Download.
That is correct, man. Welcome, Mindrunner. Excellent intro. That's my first time seeing it. And it's hard to believe, when we were talking about this show, of just like everything that happened over the landscape of 2024 in AEW, where it started to where it ended, just even looking just at the champions, where they started, where they ended, and what we're kicking into 2025 at, a high gear. So had to get it dressed up. It is a suit and tie over here for SPD, and we got the bubbly going to celebrate a great year. This is a very tough, man. This is, picking. It's not like you have the categories like a typical award show. You pick from 4 or 5 or 6 nominees, and this is like the broad landscape. Like, because some of my picks are from earlier in the year. You had to like rewind time, go back to the time machine, and kind of scroll through what matches or what kind of stood out to you, because it can kind of blend together. But it was a great year for AEW. Got to go to a few shows this year, and I love the direction they're going, and we're ready for our award show.
Definitely, and you make a very good point. There is the battle of recency bias. There is a lot of stuff that was stuck out to me in the latter part of the year that I had to go back and remember a lot of the stuff that I really enjoyed from the early part of the year. I mean, it all in Wembley was not that long ago, but it feels like it was forever ago. And there's been a lot going on. But I will have to say, overall, 2024 brought the boom.
We bring the boom. We bring the boom to everyone.
Oh, my gosh. I did not endorse that, but,
SPD is a huge fan of the boom. I got to tell you that.
Oh, my gosh. I have to say the boom is growing on me. From a outside looking in fan, I feel like the boom being able to promote, and the way, like, looking at that spot, like as a standalone act gimmick, I'm like, this is just ridiculous. But the way that team can promote anything and shows, like, they're expert at their craft of what they do, and it's making AEW better. So I got to support it. So I do like the boom, and we're recently announced that we're going to see them back in the ring at Revolution. So in March, the boom is going to be brought versus whom? I'm not sure. And
the boom versus whom? That's the question.
That's right. Boom versus whom? That is for sure. I don't know. Maybe we could discuss it next week. Like, who do you want to see him go against? And do you think this is going to be main card worthy now after the response we got on the pre-show?
All right, here's a bold prediction. Let us know in the chat. Does the boom get gold in 2025?
No,
I mean, if he's popping ratings, man, if he's getting the ratings, if Max
he's going to get a gold, double chug.
Do you make a Costco belt? Do you make the Rizzler? See, here's the thing, though, is I swear, Rizzler's got to turn heel just when it looks like he's gonna. I think he should challenge for one of the belts, and just when it looks like he's about to win, Rizzler turns on him and joins QT Marshall.
Oh my gosh.
I think that'd be fantastic. Let us know in the chat. I have a feeling because last time we saw the Boom, it was Jericho was messing with him. I'm wondering if the learning tree might be involved with facing
That's
the
true.
Boom or Doom. That would be quite an interesting matchup.
We need the
And
Boom to feel the doom and get a loss.
what about this? If they're going to push for an ROH TV show, what a better way to get support is if you have the double trunk chocolate cookie guy facing hi
Cookie
guys,
Monster.
the learning tree.
Yeah, that would be epic heat for Jericho for sure, for someone who is so over with the
Yes.
Big Boom. Anyways, enough about that. Maybe that is your breakout star of 2025. I gotta find
no
if I have.
spoilers.
I don't know if you have the category list or not. Do you have that? But if not, I'll put it up.
I
in a
don't
minute.
have the category list. I just have the actual awards themselves ready to go.
So
But
I will put
I
up
have
the
this.
category list momentarily. But
Okay.
that long we've already settled on our picks unless we decide to change them last second. But it's in paper.
They're locked
so
in.
ready to go. But we got categories are top heel, top babyface, top male athlete, top female athlete. We also have top mic work, top tag team, scouts of the year, match of the year, feud of the year, and then we're going to make a hot take, bold take with the prediction of a 2025 breakout star of the year.
Yes.
So we can start with the first award, whatever you want. Unless you want to see anyone want to see the categories while they're following along, I got them ready to roll. And one more time, real quick, before we dive into the first award.
You want to bring them up real quick, and we'll just for everybody at home, you can play along. Yeah, and I think
Yes,
SPD,
absolutely.
we're getting a little choppy. I think Windows might be updating, or perhaps the Boom or Doom guys are hijacking our feed a little bit. So perhaps they're messing with
Is
that.
it the video or audio or both?
It sounded like the audio, but now we got you coming in pretty clear.
All right, good. Here's all our categories for the award show tonight.
Top babyface, top heel, female athlete, and male athletes, mic work, tag team. Looks like we're pretty much set. All right. So let's get started. The first category, I think we actually have babyface of 2024.
SPD special.
Let's get to it, ladies and germs. It's time for babyface of the year. All right, now I cheated a little bit in this category, but I think you guys can give me a pass because they're pretty much one person. But the babyface, super pop, super over, the oldest guys in the business, they taught the Rock and Roll Express everything they know. Dusty Rhodes when he was just a wee lad. Ric Flair, he learned his style from these guys. I'm talking, of course, about one of the most over guys in the business. The Outrunners are my babyface of 2024. Never, because they have exploded onto AEW, going from just a quick jobber gimmick to all the way to the top, the pop that they got at the Tag Team Battle Royal every time they come out. At the Outrunner FTR, everything. They are not just a way of life, they are an entire aura. The Outrunners are my babyface of 2024. Turbo Floyd, Truth Magnum, SPD, you son of a bitch.
I love the pick, man. I do love the pick because these guys are so fun to watch, and you saw the crowd wave and momentum behind these guys to kind of close out the year. Now, to piggyback on a little bit from last night's show, this is where we need to see the resurgence of the tag division back ASAP in 2025, the first quarter ASAP. Yes. But, SPD picked, of course, my guy, Will Ospreay, and it was without a doubt, especially what we saw at World's End with that promo, the 2-match night. And I think that was the cherry on top for me. And the crowd is so over for him with his music and his chants and everything. And he walks the talk, he walks the walk, talks the talks better than anyone in the biz. I mean, Swerve is up there too. And so this was an easy pick for me because of his full-time addition to AEW and everything that he's done so far. Love it.
Absolutely. In fact, I almost made the same suggestion that Dave Meltzer does now with his match evaluations is we should have had 2 separate award categories for this year. We should have had like matches of the year and then matches of the year without Will Ospreay. And like if we had, because if you imagine, a lot of these categories we could pretty much put Will Ospreay in. And I think it's it's going to be kind of interesting. But by the way, let us know in the chat your picks. Who do you think? Do you agree with our picks, babyface of the year, or do you have somebody else? Looks like Daniel Bryan. I don't know who Daniel Bryan is, but maybe Bryan Danielson. But I don't know who Daniel Bryan is. But there you go, babyfaces of the year, SBD. I highly agree with your pick, but I got to go with my guys, the Outrunners, hands down. The
youngest guys alive.
Youngest guys alive. Well, now let's go to for every baby face, there's a great heel, and heel of the year. All right, you can tell us about your heel pick.
Man, I'm surprised that you picked that. I'll let you do that because he's going to be the heel of 2025. He could make a back-to-back for this one at this rate. But I think Christian Cage, everything he's done, making that double match surprise appearance at All In, winning that contract, and his just fire lethal promos are just absolutely incredible. Like, man, deafening boos, and he doesn't miss a beat ever. And so, in a time where there was absent MJF for a while, babyface to heel MJF for a while, this guy has been true the top heel of AEW, in my opinion, for 2024, Christian Cage.
Absolutely. And there's no doubt about it. He is not afraid to go there. In fact, he actually has really given MJF a run for his money as far as how dark he can go with some of his comments. It started with the dead father. That's what really spawned the patriarchy. My only thing is that Christian Cage is still Christian Cage this year as he was last year. He was an incredible heel last year. I don't think he was as Christian Cagey this year as he could have been. Now, granted, the whole thing with the contract has been a great gimmick, and him, just what's he going to do and all of this. And, we do wish the best. I think we were setting up for a really interesting storyline with Luchasaurus Killswitchosaurus, but unfortunately, our thoughts and prayers go with Austin Middleton, and I hope he gets better soon. But I've got to say, in the short amount of time, and I've said this yesterday, in the short amount of time that they have given Ricochet a chance to develop a personality, because in WWE, he was just this flippy do guy, and that's all he was really allowed to do. He didn't really get much to branch out as far as beyond just the in-ring work.
Sure.
We know what he's capable of. We know what he can hang with Ospreay. We know what his abilities in the ring are, but he's now able to really explore a personality and a storyline. And he's basically the antithesis of Will Ospreay. I think I used a DC analogy last time. I know Full Tilt Deb's like nerd, but he is the Sinestro to Will Ospreay's Green Lantern. He is embraced this heel and this reaction, this whole setup feud he's got going with Swerve now with the toilet paper and just this whole persona. And he's got my favorite. I have one of my best friends growing up had a laugh just like this. It was the it was the most annoying laugh. He would win at poker or he would do something. He would have this just like laugh.
You probably want to slap the taste out of his mouth.
Exactly. You just want to punch him. But see, what's great about Ricochet is he can be that annoying and that much of a heel, but what makes him a great heel is he could still back it up. Guys like MJF, who, even though he barely wrestles, MJF in the ring can back it up. Ricochet can really do those Will Ospreay things, but he's a great heel. I think, to me, in the short amount of time he's been given, he has proved to me that he's my heel of 2024, and I'm looking forward
Wow.
to what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, incredible stuff, man. Great pick.
Awesome. And so now we're going to go to best, I believe, female wrestler of the year. But and again, this is one of those things where it's really tough to pick, especially with recency bias. But you have to look at the entire year. But without further ado, let's go to female wrestler of 2024. Look at that.
Two that were once aligned and now enemies, and had one of the best matches and feuds, as well as one of the best teams. Yin and Yang gimmick is now both of our picks in two different elements. The timeless Toni Storm saga throughout the year was some of the best stuff we've seen in the women's division, period. And had to give it to her, hands down. I mean, what she did in the ring, what she did with the promos, what she did with the character was absolute home run. Miss it. Hopefully it can be repeated one day, because it was that good.
Absolutely. And I understand the cry for Thunder Rosa. And, I have to really put my bias aside, because, otherwise I would pick Thunder Rosa for every one of these categories, even male wrestling. I just, Thunder Rosa, why not? But Thunder Rosa hasn't had the opportunity this year that she should. And that's not her fault. That's booking. That's a lot of stuff going on. But if Thunder Rosa had more opportunities, I think she could definitely get this spot. And like I said before, Thunder Rosa is reinventing women's wrestling, continuing to do this. With the matches that she had with Deonna Purrazzo, loves that new spot she does with the incline table. However, I almost tied you with this and picked Timeless Toni Storm. I am happy that she's enjoying her retirement. I think she's doing fantastic. I'd love maybe she'll return to the screen. Now, one of the things, though, a lot of people are falsely comparing her to this new rookie who's known as Tony Time, Toni Storm. And, I like this young couple. She reminds me of Timeless Toni Storm when she was a rookie. So I'm hoping good things from her. Maybe they'll be able to meet at some point, but definitely valued. However, of all the female wrestlers in AEW, the one that has had the most success, the most matches, the most wins, the current AEW women's champion,
you're right,
Mariah May has checked all the boxes. She's beautiful. She's got personality. She's great in the ring. She's got the athletic ability. She knows how to storytell in the ring. She can emote reactions. She knows how to react happy. She's got that sinister smile. She knows how to have the oh crap face when someone shows up, like when Thunder Rosa's coming after her, or when Toni Storm, the rookie, showed up. She knows all the reactions. She knows how to wrestle. She's one of those wrestlers that can enhance her dance partner.
Right.
Anna Jay, whoever it is in the ring with her, helps them look good as well. She's not afraid to take those bumps. She deserves the AEW title. She deserves Female Wrestler of 2024. Mariah May, congratulations.
It's a great pick. And you're right. Thunder Rosa, piggyback on that. Like, she's been in our award show many, many times. It's just unfortunate the way that, it's fortunate for us fans because we got awesome wrestlers like Toni and Mariah doing some great stuff for the year, but we selfishly would want someone else to have that spot.
Well, here's the thing. Prediction, though, and I'm not giving away anything later on, but we've got All In is in Texas.
Right.
And I think it's time, now that we got this HBO Max money coming in, it's time for old TK to shell out some green and get AC/DC's Thunderstruck. And let's get Thunder to come in like Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania on the zip line.
Wow,
for her
that would be
title
epic.
match. Can you imagine her winning the title in Texas at All In. That's the agenda. Let's go
Book it.
there. Let's book it. But
Book it.
for every female wrestler, there are some male wrestlers too. I mean, as much as I'm a fan of the women's division, I do sometimes watch the male wrestlers as well. So let's get, without further ado, male wrestler of 2024. Swerve when I drive, I swerve when I drive. Top rope, catch a dive. In the ring, you won't survive. Big pressure, I thrive.
I love the pick by Courtney. I think he was definitely 100%. If we had a most improved wrestler, I think that'd be a clean sweep with him.
Yep.
He could be definitely the male wrestler of the year as well, the way he would have been. We got Fletcher and Mox. I picked Osprey. I mean, because I'm an Osprey mark, and how often? I mean, he puts on 5-star matches every match.
Mm-hmm.
It's so enough said with that. Incredible. The guy never phones it in. Not that many wrestlers do, but the top guys never phone it in. Swerve, Osprey, Mox, Fletcher, all these ones are great ones. Danielson, they don't phone it in. And Osprey gives it all every single time. And he tells a different story and stories every single time. So does Swerve. And so both these picks are fantastic. I love them. Osprey, man, his style is everything I love about AEW. And so being able to watch that time and time again and to just deliver fantastic matches time and time again, man, easy pick for me.
There's a reason why Will Ospreay is in the same conversation as Kenny Omega. They both are wrestlers that not only are superior at what they do, it's almost art with the way that they maneuver. Every time you watch a Will Ospreay match, no matter who he's wrestling, it's going to be incredible. No matter what he's doing, and that's the thing. And we saw proof of his adaptability in the Continental Classic, because 1 minute he's wrestling Darby Allin, the next minute he's wrestling somebody big. It's his adaptability is huge, and he puts on banger after banger. Going back to what I said earlier, the old Meltzer, I heard it both ways. It's that you almost have to have a separate category for Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is adaptable. He understands how to elevate a match. See what I did there? Mm-hmm. He's fun to watch. He makes wrestling fun, no matter with all the flaws and the other things that may go on. No matter where you are, whenever he's in a match, it's going to be fun, bruv.
That's for sure, bruv.
But so is Swerve.
Right.
Now, Swerve is also one of those wrestlers that can adapt to whoever he's wrestling. Now, he may not do as many flippy doos as Will Ospreay, but he is just as entertaining to watch. He has
100%.
He adapts. He always comes up with something new. One of the things where Swerve actually edges out Will Ospreay is the storytelling element, emoting. Now, I'm not saying Will's not good at this. I'm not saying that at all. Where Will Ospreay has an edge with the athletic, the flips and stuff, which is so fun to watch. Swerve he is in character when he's in that ring, when he reacts to somebody popping up, where of course Will Ospreay does react. Swerve has that storytelling element. Swerve has grown on the mic. His promos are tremendous. I feel like he's in contention for being one of the best mic promo guys, and that's not what he used to be known for. But he has really grown into one of the best guys on the microphone. He understands storytelling. He understands not only what his role in each feud and each storyline is, but he understands how to enhance the other person. And as Courtney said, Swerve made history. First black champion in world champion in AEW. Yep. And again, he's coming back. Give him all the titles. Swerve established himself as a world champion, and he did it. He climbed into that spot. He earned that spot, and he deserves that spot. And he's tremendous to watch. Both of these guys, when you have whatever match they're going to be in,
right,
you're in for an awesome one. So I'm Swerve, congratulations, Osprey. I understand it as well. Swerve when I drive, swerve when I drive. And that's again going back to, that match that they had together. I remember way back when they first announced it, we were feeling like this was like, is this too soon? Well,
Right,
I don't think it
exactly.
was too soon. It was more like, we're going to get it again. They had other plans, obviously, that were coming, but I thought that was pretty cool. So, singles competition taken care of. Now, let's get to a category that needs a lot of love in 2025 because we're
Yes,
coming.
it does, and we're hoping for it to come.
So let's get further ado. Tag team of 2024, brother. Haha, you thought I was going to pick the Outrunners, didn't you? But no.
You swerved.
I swerved, of course. I actually went with not necessarily champions, but we're going to touch tips with my tag team of 2024 because the story behind these two guys,
Interesting pick. All right.
and I'll explain, there's a whole story with these two. These have become two of the most entertaining tag team wrestlers in AEW. And it's
You're right.
their gimmick is they live their gimmick, even though in reality, shoot, both these guys are happily married men. They've got families. They're totally just not the characters they pretend to be. But where they came from, and again, I'm not bashing WWE, but they came from a really tough situation. Mansoor was pretty much a guy they only would bring out occasionally when they go to the Crown Jewel, and they'd have him do a singles match. And Matt Mason was for a while Mace, as part of Retribution, wasn't allowed to speak, had to wear a mask.
Jeez.
Talk about a wasted personalities. You put this guy, one of your best, most charismatic people, and you barely use them. They played these characters a little bit when they were in NXT just before they came to AEW, but they have knocked it out of the park. All of their promos are fun to watch. They're fun to watch live. Stupid, goofy wrestling for life is what I love. They're entertaining every time, and I do think we're going to see a lot more of them. Are they championship material? Maybe someday, probably not right now, but I do feel like that they add so much to the show. They balance the show out with all their personalities, and I feel like they work well together. There's chemistry, and they're just such great. There's such great heel doofuses that they're exactly what I love about that type of character wrestling.
I love the way you sold them. I'm very surprised by this pick and was hoping for a little bit of a push. Same with the Outrunners when we did see them in that tag team battle royal. Yep. And then, they've been featured on Ring of Honor and other places, but unfortunately not as much on AEW television. So my pick, the Young Bucks. There was no better tag team that had a 2024 than the Young Bucks. Running down their cards, they had one of the best tag team matches versus Sting and Darby at Revolution. They also had, they're part of Blood and Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts. They also, where I was there live, they won the ladder match versus FTR at AEW Dynasty. So I got to see that live. That helped out with that. And then you had at All In the three-way match. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
The three-way match that they had a very entertaining three-way match in All In. And then obviously putting over the Private Party to lose the belts and the stuff that they did with the Elite. So they were very featured in a year of light tag teams. Thank you. Bless me. And if in a year of light tag teams, they were featured a lot and they were able to kind of at least save the division for the most part. And I loved the limited date stuff, the EVP stuff. So it was fun for the year, but as we've been kind of fantasy booking and predicting, it'll be interesting to see where we go back. Like I love the Babyface Bucks with the tassels, the confetti,
Yeah.
my favorite confetti, you know, the danglies and just all the ridiculous stuff. And their type of wrestling works so well as heels or baby faces. But looking at the matches that they put on, you could have, I mean, looking back at this, you know, I found my match of the year, but looking back at this, like you could have had a couple of their matches, match of the year, with that ladder match at Dynasty, with the Sting and Darby match as well, which was so good. So Young Bucks tag team of the year for SPD.
And I get it too, because you know I understand, you know, we're ready for the corporate bucks to excuse me, we're ready for the corporate bucks to drop that stick. And I think with Kenny Omega coming back, maybe that's going to kind of, you know, they're wrestling in Japan right now. I don't know if they're going to be that, you know, succession kind of thing. But I do think that they're fantastic. My only thing is the limited dates and just the tag team division as a whole is just sitting there like toys that stuck in the toy box. It's like, yo, I hope they do something like a tag tournament of some kind. The tag team division needs some TLC. But
100%.
without further ado, not just the in-ring ability is important, but also you've got to sell your match, you got to sell your feud, you've got to cut those promos.
That's right.
So for us to talk about that, we've got to go to best mic work in 2024, who has been phenomenal. Now, there have been some incredible promos, but you and I have chosen the mic work of the year. And I don't know if I've got that thing, but here we go. Instead of mic work of the year, I'm going to play this instead.
We bring the boom. We bring the boom to everyone.
All right. There
It's how fitting that you made that, and I'm wearing the same outfit right now. It's like I pre-recorded it.
Let's go to top mic work of the year. I have to go. Now, I agree with your pick.
Right.
But you can't touch the mic work, the promos. When Moxley cuts a promo, everybody listens.
You're right.
When and I don't even think he has a script. He may have one or two bullet points he might get to. I would love to be in a public speaking class with Moxley and he just walk up there, you know, and just talk about ducks on a pond. He's like, yeah, you think you see the ducks in the pond? They think they're smooth on the top, but underneath that pond, their feet are going a mile a minute. That's because they're desperate. They don't know they're not at the top of the food chain. And that's what they're going to do. And that's what I am. I'm the alpha predator. I'm here to make sure that AEW stays on top. No one deserves to see this. You're going to have to bleed me dry. You're going to have to break every bone in my body before I see anyone take this championship away from me.
There you go. That's a hell of a promo right there.
Right. Thank you. But I mean, that is why and that's not even doing a Moxley
top
justice.
mic work for Mindrunner.
Top mic work for John Moxley. But Moxley, seriously, Moxley is hands down the best on the mic, and I think that's granted. The guy you picked is fantastic too. I almost went with Swerve, but Moxley is the king of top mic work, and I couldn't think of anybody else that could beat him on the mic.
I mean, you talked about a lot what about Swerve in general in our last, top performer, male performer, and it's just echoing that. Like Swerve was able to get the spotlight, for most of this year, whether his title win and run, and then his refeud with Hangman, that just sharing promos back and forth, being able to emote and tell a story. It was very fun to watch. It was an awesome ride to watch, and Swerve absolutely just dominated the mic work and being able to walk the walk and talk the talk 100%. And so, Ospreay, like, to going back to him, like, he can cut the promos that needs to be cut. Swerve is cutting the promos that make you feel and make
Yes.
you invested into the
Absolutely.
matches that much more. MJF can cut an awesome promo and piss you off, but there's no one in AEW right now that can cut the emotional roller coaster promo than Swerve, in my opinion.
Yep, and you saw that recently. Getting back to kind of talking about my heel,
Right?
is when Ricochet, aka Trevor, was messing with Swerve. Swerve said, he cold looks him in the eye and he says, "When you mess up, I'm going to embarrass you and I'm going to make it big." And
Right.
you felt like, he's going to do something. And, there's a lot of people, it's not about being loud. In fact, when I was at military school, we had a lot of our upper class, the cadre would always yell. It was like boot camp. And there was always, everybody was loud and yelling, but the guys that were the scariest weren't the loud guys. They were the guys who get right up to your ear and they go, "What are you doing? You think you want to be here? You don't belong here. Get on your face." But those are the scariest guys because they weren't yelling. They were just cold. And, like you said, he makes you feel. MJF can piss you off. There's a lot of guys that can get you hype about a match, but Swerve, both on the mic and with his emoting in the ring and storytelling,
Exactly.
he can make you feel. And I love that. And I think that's exactly right. I just had to go with Moxley because every promo that he cuts is tremendous. And that's
it's so good.
And that's
good.
half the battle. That's
right.
just me one of the things there. All right, but just like there are, you check the boxes. Your in-ring work.
Were you a heel or did you grow up? I want to know this too.
A bad kid, or did he grow up? No, I was not sent to military school. I actually was very squeaky, clean growing up. I was a good kid. I thought I was going to be in the military, and then I got to the military school and I realized how not military I was. And I think that actually was a blessing because it took me away from military lifestyle. And I think I kind of almost went 180 and became the awesome mind runner that I am today. So I graduated military school and I did not go into the military. I was like, nope, I'm going this way.
All right.
Exactly that.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Absolutely. So just to clarify, there's the little tidbit. There's a little taste of mind runner right there. We talked about the importance of in-ring skill. You've got to be entertaining in the ring, not just at flippy do or whatever wrestling that you're doing. You got to eat. You've got to be great on the promos. You've got to, when you're cutting a promo, the people that are great on the mic are the ones that you remember. When you see them, when you know they're going to do a promo backstage, it's going to be entertaining. When you know that a match coming up, win or lose, you're going to enjoy the match. You're going to have fun. Now, fun can be a serious banger, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve. It could be, the Lucha Brothers versus Vikingo and Comey. Top flight. What you're in for. But there are two people that you and I picked that qualify as the star who broke out in 2024. They checked all of those boxes and I want to say single-handedly, but they have elevated their status based on how their 2024 went. So you and I both have two different picks, but I think
we should
still the same. We're still thinking these are two people that have elevated their status based on the entertainment value that they bring. And so without further ado, our breakout stars of 2024.
Oh, love the pick, mind. 100%.
As you can see, we picked two very different, yet they're here for the very same reason. These are our breakout stars. Tell us, why did you pick Swerve?
So even though he was already quote unquote a star, I feel like he was able to elevate his stock and everything tenfolds in 2024. From
Yes.
winning the title, obviously, to what I just spoke about with his enhancements on the microphone and being able to tell the story. I think he elevated himself from the pre-show to the main event in
Mhm.
quick time. And I loved watching his growth and watching him get time to shine. And so it was just so fun. So I think not that he, like I just mentioned, like I just think he was able to take it to the next level in 2024. And I loved watching it with Swerve.
You're absolutely right. He did, and he said he was gonna do this. Swerve told everybody that he was going to take Hangman's spot. Now he actually said that in 2023, but he proved it in 2024,
Yeah,
winning the championship, of course, making history. But he is now seen like before for the last few years. There was only, even though there's still such great talent in AEW, there was really only a handful of people you actually could see as AEW champion. Sure, there's
sure.
TNT champions, what have you, but there were only a handful of people that we could see ready for this. Swerve worked his butt off to
Yes, he
get to
did.
that level, and it was because he evolved. He
You're
broke,
right.
and he, like the category says, he broke out, and he got to the point. And what's great about Swerve is he won the title, but more importantly, I think the bigger accolade, his bigger accomplishment, is he has established himself as a main event top level talent
Good
who
point.
doesn't need the title to make him great. He actually makes the title great rather than the title making him. And he's like since he lost the title, there was no doubt in my mind we're still gonna see some kind of compelling story with him.
But
He
yeah, look
hasn't
what he did with
needed the
Hangman.
title. Yeah, exactly. The Hangman
He's gonna
feud
do
has been
amazing stuff with
tremendous.
Ricochet, that's for sure.
So much is fantastic with this guy. I love it. However, my
Enlighten
breakout
me. I agree
star
with you on this 100%.
my breakout star has proved the haters wrong. I did not quite. I knew she had something when she showed up on QTV, and
Oh
she
gosh,
started
she
playing
was
that little
great
crate.
on there.
She was a breakout star there. I knew her actually before even joining AEW, back when she actually sung the Iconics new theme song when they became the
Really?
inspiration in TNA. They were wrestling in TNA, and she actually was the vocals. She actually made their song. She actually has a musical group with Shotzi Blackheart and Scarlett Bordeaux from WWE. The three of them have a couple musical tracks together. The three of them. There's one video where they kind of look like the Powerpuff Girls. And ironically, she was the redhead in it. I don't understand that. However,
Hey, don't talk
Harley
bad about
Cameron
redheads.
has been is my breakout star because she is awesome at everything she's one of the most entertaining talents that they've got, to the point where it's like she's showbiz bound. But I really hope I hope she still keeps a foot in wrestling. She's great in the ring. She has
You're right.
really impressed me in the ring. She can take a bump. She knows how to emote. She knows how to sell in these matches. She also makes them entertaining. This character she has, I love it. I love the interaction between her and Mina Shirakawa, and they had a boob off. It was great because it wasn't like sexy. It was almost like, I can shake my boobs better than you. The whole Harley Graham gimmick when she took Hologram's mask.
She's just
I'm
having
Holly Graham.
the time of her life, I feel like, too. Like,
She,
and that's what it's
she,
all about. Like, you're just like enjoying what you do it and like being silly
yeah,
gimmicks catching on. But it's like not just silly, it's smart silly in the sense like the promos that she cuts and things like that, like they're smartly done.
absolutely. And she is fantastic. She is an entertainer. I feel like, it was great putting her with Saraya. My overbooking. She's a talented ventriloquist, and she
Yeah.
does cameos now. She's got this old man hand puppet that she carries around with her.
I saw that.
I think she needs to make a Saraya hand puppet, and she needs to go around and pretend like Saraya is here, not missing, and walk around and act like this puppet is Saraya, and even talk like a. And I think that would just be hilarious that she's that crazy. But she's another one, like I said, um anybody that's that awesome. And I see Penelope Ford was mentioned. Courtney tells us more about that later. But Penelope Ford teaming with her, that's a great combo, the two of them.
Yes.
So I'd love to see that. But Harley Cameron, you are my breakout star. I hope that 2025 is going to be just keep doing what you're doing. It's working. It's awesome. You're fantastic. And I understand, both of these folks are kind people in real life too. So they're just as cool in person as they appear on TV. Because sometimes people are on TV, you meet them in person, you're like, they're kind of a jerk.
Yeah,
Not
MJF.
these two. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he
doesn't
is. MJF is who he is
Right.
on real. But I heard rumors that backstage in the locker room, it's different, but we'll see. All right.
He's the drizzling shits.
He is the drizzling shits. However, it's now time for us to talk about people. It's all fun and games, happy-go-lucky, but what makes a good match is the feud that surrounds it and the friction and the storyline, and when they finally blow off. And there have been some tremendous feuds this year. There have been some boiling hot feuds. So without further ado, let's get to feud of the year.
Oh man, yeah. I guess I love your pick because I totally agree with that. I mean, it could have been so many different things, but I just felt like the boiling point of what was working up to with Cope and Christian, because when they both were here, you almost thought like we're gonna be partners like back in the day. But I love that they were enemies, and then and talk about top mic work on their dropping the F-bomb, go F your. So like, imagine that was this year. So like some of that contributed to him being my heel of the year, or top mic work of the year, excuse me. But I love the way this panned out, and he forced Christian to quit. Christian was a fantastic champion. It was great to watch Cope chase him and try to get to him and find an ultimate payoff.
Absolutely. And what I love about this category is there were some good feuds. There were several I was looking at. I mean, in the Mission Pro Spotlight Awards, I went with Mariah May versus Toni Storm. I thought that qualified as a tremendous feud. There were a lot of great feuds this year, and I agree. The Cope and Christian, and that's again one of those feuds that's going to last for a long, long time. However, this is essentially our Stone Cold and Rock is Swerve and Hangman. These guys are going to be doomed to hate each other for the rest of their careers. I mean, not in real life, but of course, this is going to be one of those feuds that'll continue. And I think that, and I just love it. I mean, granted, if they can gross me out, I know how you and Phil Deb are with the blood, but drinking each other's blood, I mean, to me, and literally hanging a person, and the burning down the house. And what's great is this feud, where everybody else it's been a feud, Swerve and Hangman changed who those characters are. They both came out of that feud, and the feud's not over, it's still going, but they both came out of that series for their feud changed men. And you can see it. You can see it in how Swerve carries himself now. You can see it in Hanger. And if you're going to get Swerve into something better than a championship match, this feud was exactly what he needed, what to plug him into. And I highlighted the Full Gear Texas Death Match for a reason, because that was just wow.
Oof, brutal.
It's not over. I'm sure we're going to see some more, but
That was a crazy ending for sure.
the two of them, they're destined to, and I'm actually looking forward to a moment perhaps this year where they're forced to team with each other. And it's going to reward us fans. They're going to be like looking at each other like they hate each other, but they have to. Anyways, best feud of the year, in my
There we
opinion.
go. She just said that was a chef's kiss. And
Oh.
100%, I totally agree, man. That is, thinking about it, like, I love your pick for sure. And it's one of those feuds, like, certain ones, like the MJF Adam Cole, like, we're kind of like, okay, close the chapter. That's good. Let's let that one be done. And this is one, it's like you could resurface anytime, and we all, as fans, would love it every single time.
Absolutely. Well, we've got, for every feud of the year, they only lead up to one thing. They lead up to match of the year.
Yeah, that's a tough one because there's many matches.
And this was another category, like we were just saying. It's another category where I'm actually glad that there's a lot to talk about. I had to really weigh my options, as did you. And I think we both will agree with each other's picks, but we both picked different matches. And it's time for us to reveal match of the year.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised with your women's match pick at all, because you're a women's match mark and the resident women's match
proudly
connoisseur of Dynamite Download. However, that match was fantastic, and I do confidently think that is definitely top 2, top 3 women's matches in AEW history. And so for them to, excuse me, let me go back. The first match I liked better than the second. We didn't get to talk about World End. So personally, I like the first match better than the second one. So, but this feud was fantastic. And I think those guys, those ladies, did awesome together. My match, a lot had to go into a couple things. First off, Danielson has always, over the last decade or so, been one of my Mount Rushmore's wrestling because of his drive, his story, his push, his almost David versus Goliath mentality. And I love being a part of the yes movement in WWE, and for him to be here in AEW. So his promo work, his in-ring stuff, his match stuff, his unselfishness in the ring too, really I'm a big fan of. Ospreay, when he came to AEW, he became almost my, I don't want to say replacement, but Danielson replacement of who I mark out for the most and excited to get to. And then when these guys went toe-to-toe at Dynasty, and I knew I'd be relatively in a stone's throw there, I was like, I have to be there live for this. And I was there live for it. And, a little bit of the ending put aside, which was kind of a shock, and just kind of like left us. I wish it was one of those matches where it ended and both guys got standing ovations. And because we all wanted to do that and we all did that, it almost was like in the vibe in the arena after Danielson was like shaking hurt, it was just like, almost felt bad, like to be cheering this when we are like standing on our feet for most of the match. And so I loved their chemistry. This was a dream match for me in AEW, and it delivered, and I love it.
Well, okay, I agree with you. And it also goes to Will Ospreay. No matter the style, Will Ospreay can have a banger match with everybody. I am married to Bryan Danielson's least fan, totally the opposite of number one fan. While most of the people were gasping and freaking out about Bryan Danielson being carted off by medical facilities, my better half, Full Tilt Deb, was going,
oh my gosh.
Full Tilt Deb is not a fan of Bryan Danielson. Now, I prefer more the Will Ospreay style than the Bryan Danielson more catch wrestling. I'm not a hater of Bryan Danielson. I understand Full Tilt Deb's preferences because I know her. I'm not rooting for the guy's downfall, and I'm a fan of the person. outside, not the character Bryan Danielson, but the person. And I
Right.
think a lot of this started when because we were at the first Dynamite after Full Gear when Hanger won the title, and he showed up and Bryan Danielson came out and was a heel. And so we were booing the heck out of him. But then later he came back the second Dynamite. He was supposed to be a babyface, and he was wrestling Sammy Guevara. And we were in this very rowdy Sammy section. I mean, our whole like wedge of the arena was shouting, cheering for Sammy to the point where he gave us like this dirty look, like, "Why are you guys cheering for Sammy?" And we're like, "Hey, screw you." But Deb is definitely not a fan of Bryan Danielson, but this is a testament to Will Ospreay. And I've always asked, we'd always, because when we discuss Deb's loathing of Bryan Danielson, I'd always say, all right, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. Is Kenny Omega cool enough to balance out your disgust for Bryan Danielson? And she says, almost. Here's why Will Ospreay is awesome. Is Will Ospreay actually made this match interesting for Deb to watch.
Okay.
She didn't go out and have a smoke while this went on. She watched the whole match and enjoyed it, even though her nemesis, Bryan Danielson, was part. I enjoyed it, but I'm not anti-Bryan Danielson. I just understand her point of view. But for my wife to enjoy a Bryan Danielson match, it's because of Will Ospreay. That's a testament to Will Ospreay. Having said that, I am a proud women's wrestling mark, but more so because of, and I chose the World's End match. Yes, there were. I think and I had to really weigh it. I went back and watched the parts of both matches, and I actually realized that there was a bit of a pop bias with their Full Gear match because I wasn't expecting their match to be as good as it was at Full Gear.
Sure.
World's End, I was going in for two things. One, I was expecting them to do a good job. And two, it was almost a been there, done that. I'm kind of ready for Mercedes to have some new challengers, new competition. So I was kind of ho-hum. But as a match, and their chemistry, and Mercedes has even said this in an interview recently, that she's found a new wrestling soulmate with Chris Statlander. And I agree. Mercedes Moné has struggled to have good matches until she started finding a couple of these wrestlers that she gels with, these dance partners. And I think they're helping her get her rhythm. And I'm not saying that she's only going to have good matches with only these people. They're allowing her to have better matches because of the chemistry between them. Statlander is fantastic, and she's another one of those, that doesn't always get her flowers. She's a great dance partner for Mercedes Moné. I'd love for them to run this back again. But also this match is now the longest women's wrestling match in AEW history. It broke past 20 minutes. And it's going to be legendary. And Dave Meltzer, it's one of the few women's matches that Meltzer gave 5 stars. Wow. And so I've got to give the props to it. Absolutely. Of course, Snacklander, as Courtney and I call her, is always phenomenal to watch. I really am looking forward to going through. Full Tilt Deb and I have talked about Athena. I think we both agree that they're probably keeping Athena at Ring of Honor until they can secure some kind of TV deal. But the moment they're ready, can you imagine Mercedes Moné talking her smack, and then all of a sudden Athena's Fallen Angel music starts playing? The crowd's going to lose their mind. But
absolutely.
But the thing is, this was to me match of the year. I don't disagree with yours, but I got to go with. And I love the way that this match kind of was showing the rest of the ladies in the locker room that, hey, women's division's heading into 2025 with some fire.
Yeah, well said.
Very good. So, we've got match of the year. We've got all these other categories. There's only time for one more category, and that is Look who's back.
Breakout Star of the year that we're predicting.
Yep.
So this is fun because I had to think about it for a while because you know there's so many like Ricochet. I think we could have picked Swerve this year. It's so we always pick
Yeah.
people that don't necessarily aren't like underdogs or whatever it is, but
Mhm.
ones that we want to see take that 10 steps up that
Yeah.
Swerve did. And so I love yours, and I think it's definitely writing in the sand for this one for Ricochet to take that additional step. I mean, he came into AEW undefeated, so he was already a top guy. Commander's a great one too. Hologram's a great one.
Mhm.
But Hobbs is one of those who has been consistently growing every single year, and I hope staying healthy. And I
Yes.
hope that Hobbs for 2025 could be the breakout star of the year, and we could be talking about him as some kind of champion or whatever it may be. And it was great to see him do a quick little squash match just to get him on get him TV time. And so I really want Hobbs to succeed. He's one of those guys that I love his story too, coming from the bottom, going to the top.
Mhm.
And his promo game has gotten better. And as a baby face, he's fun to root for. And so I'm picking, Powerhouse Hobbs is my breakout star of 2025.
Oh,
I think it's going to happen. Book it.
Fantastic pick. Fantastic pick. And I know because you were really thinking hard about this. And this was a last minute, not last minute pick, but it was like you had to come up, finally make a decision at the last minute.
Exactly.
And you went with Hobbs because
I was pulling a
there's
crayfish.
so many other there, but Hobbs is such a great pick. And I think we all here, Dynamite Download, we want great things. We know he's bound for it. He should be the breakout star 2025. I agree. I'm so glad they even had him just do a squash match on Dynamite just to show us that his leg is okay. Because I was worried at World's End. I was like, no, we can't lose Hobbs. I love that he's broken away from the Callis family. Hobbs is another one like Swerve, like they're doing with Jay White right now. Hobbs is one that he can earn his spot. He's, I think he's one that we could see in the title picture if managed. I think if he goes for just the TNT title, that's okay. But I'd like to see him towards the latter part of the year to start being in that talk of world title picture.
100%.
Because I think he's worth it. He's got a great story. He's fun to watch. He's got the best spine buster in the business. And
he breaks
another
people's
one of
backs.
those. Yep, and he's another one that can work with anybody. However, I'm sorry, Christian. I'm sorry, MJF. I'm sorry, Don Callis. But the future star, the heel of this year is also my future star. Ricochet is going to develop this character to be on the level with the devil. He is going to be such a scumbag heel character. And maybe he'll turn babyface towards the end, but he's going to be that heel that we love to boo. He's going to come up with new ways. And Ricochet has the talent. And people, it's so funny because he's even embracing it on social media, getting people fired up. He's almost kind of taken a what's the guy that got arrested in Europe? I don't know. He's kind of taken that guy's mentality, and he's like,
I know who you're talking about.
Tate in the kitchen. Andrew Tate. He's
Yeah.
kind of taken a little bit
Looks
of
like
an
him
Andrew
too.
Tate to his character. And again, people that know this guy real, like he's nothing like that character, but everybody's like, no, we'd rather have Samantha Irvin instead of you. Why don't you leave and we bring in Samantha? But it's such a cool. There's so much gold to mine with this guy,
Right.
and we have just scratched the surface. It's almost like he's like, he just noticed that, hey, I can be this character, and the reaction that everybody's given. I love seeing it. And I would love it if the same as somebody left AEW and went to WWE. Like if Ricky Starks left AEW and went to WWE and exploded in WWE and got to thrive, I'd be happy for him too.
Exactly.
This is a guy that just was lost in WWE for whatever reason, and now he's finding who he is. He's finding this character so entertaining to watch, and I think we're just gonna have so much fun with him this year.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for his.
That's why you don't have a house no more.
He's going to be ruthless in a time that really needs a heel on his level. I think it's going to be really epic for sure. Great stuff. Man, that was fun. That is our last category for the award show. We're going to post them all on Twitter, our results, and Instagram as well. So if you missed it and you want to see some of our picks, we're going to post these screenshots and tag all the wrestlers, and maybe we'll get some of these guys and gals on Dynamite Download in 2025. But that was a lot of fun. 2025 is going to be an epic year, man. We
got a lot of cool things happening. We got some partnerships in the works. We'll keep you posted on that. We got some cool membership things coming up, some exclusives, all kinds of cool stuff. It's going to be a great 2025 for Dynamite Download. But I have one more category to ask the chat. Chat, out of everybody in 2024, which Dynamite Duke of Dynamite brings the boom the best? God. Of course, the answer is only one person.
We bring the boom. We bring the boom to everyone.
There's only one person that brings the boom, and that is the SPD.
I had to lose the tie. I had to lose the bow tie because it's after 11. And I'm getting hot in here. But as we sign off, just a friendly reminder, everyone, joining us for Draft Season 5 is next Friday night for the Draft Season 5. So we want you all to join us and have fun, and we all have to team up and take down the king, the chosen one, mid-runner for Season 5.
I'm going to tell you this. I may not be picking Orange Cassidy this season. I actually don't think he's going to. I actually don't think he's going to get as many.
Don't listen to him. He's just playing those games. So someone please pick him over him.
I'm going to be. Am I going to be last, or we're doing the random pick?
Random generator, live random generator again.
All right. Well, this has been phenomenal, and I want to say the best fans, everybody.
Thank you.
Dynamite Download Galaxy Universe. Here's to you a little bit of the bubbly. Thank you for making this so much fun and enjoying. And leave a comment. Let us know your favorite part of 2024. We will see you next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Boom! That's what we do.
No, this is SPD. This is not bringing the boom.
SPD. We bring the SPD to the
Cue the
Dynamite
credits.
show, and we're going to blow. And I talk a chunk cookie here. Take it to go. All right, we'll see you guys next time.